Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Coffee and Contemplation brought to you by Spotlight Recovery. It is lucky April 13th. Happy 13th to all you other folks who think the same way I do. I couldn't come up with anything more creative. Anyway, we've got reading today is from the NA Just for Today, and it's all about people pleasing. So it's a great topic. It's a yucky one emotionally, and I'm sure a whole bunch of us can relate to it. So don't worry, we're all in this together. Let's get into it. April 13th, people pleasing. Approval-seeking behavior carries us further into our addiction. From the NA Basic Text, page 14. When others approve of what we do or say, we feel good. When they disapprove, we feel bad. Their opinions of us and how those opinions make us feel can have positive value. By making us feel good about steering a straight course, they encourage us to continue doing so. People-pleasing is something else entirely. We people please when we do things right or wrong solely to gain another person's approval. Low self-esteem can make us think we need someone else's approval to feel okay about ourselves. We do whatever we think it will take to make them tell us we're okay. We feel good for a while, then we start hurting. In trying to please another person, we've diminished ourselves and our values. We realize that the approval of others will not fill the emptiness inside us. The inner satisfaction we seek can be found in doing the right things for the right reasons. We break the people-pleasing cycle when we stop acting merely to gain others' approval and start acting on our higher power's will for us. When we do, we may be pleasantly surprised to find that the people who really count in our lives will approve all the more of our behavior. Most importantly, though, we will approve of ourselves. Just for today, higher power, help me live in accordance with spiritual principles. Only then can I approve of myself. Its reflection is from NA Just for Today. So, yeah, overall, I like this reading. There's a couple little things that pop out that I'm not too crazy about, but I like the messaging. I really like the topic because I think it's a really important one for folks in recovery. This is a very, of course, it's as you've heard me say before, it's a human thing. But then as addicts, we take it to that nth degree. We take it to the next step. So it is very much a common thing with addicts. I've seen it a ton with people that I've worked with, and absolutely in myself too, very much in my experience. I very much am a people pleaser. Something that I think is really synonymous with people pleasing is codependency. I am also totally codependent. So these are things that I have definitely had to work on from an early age, and I will have to work on for the rest of my life because those feelings, those isms are always there. Those insecurities are always there. Like, we can always work at them and get better, but we're still human. They're there for a reason, have been there for a long time, and especially for a lot of us and a lot of addicts, this is true, myself included. They're usually connected to trauma, a traumatic event, traumatic upbringing, traumatic relationship, friendship, whatever it is. And so then that pretty much then solidifies this concept of people pleasing or codependency. Once it's linked to that traumatic event, it is pretty locked into your system in some way. And so I'm not obviously trying to say this to deter you or anything like that, just to understand that this is the same with our disease of addiction. It's something that is always there. We can keep working at it and getting better and have this daily reprieve, but it's incurable. It's something that is never going to fully go away ever. We can have them in remission, and we can work on and towards that and those behaviors, but understanding that it's always going to be there. Okay, so there's that. I like in this first paragraph how they separate the difference between getting positive feedback, positive value from those around us to then be a motivator and a guiding force in our lives, whereas then people pleasing is something totally different. I like that they talk about the difference between those two right off the bat. So I think that's a really good and important point to mention. Oh, pardon me. And then in that last line of this paragraph, we people please when we do things right or wrong, solely to gain another person's approval. That's a really good point too. Yeah, that's all. That's just a good point. I just want to double check here if there was anything else that was popping out for me. Oh, yeah. So even just this opening line in it, I think, is a really good descriptor. When others approve of what we do or say, we feel good. When they disapprove, we feel bad. So then when you apply this mentality to people pleasing, oh my God, that just gets taken to like a whole other level. It's so much stronger, it becomes like this visceral response then. And it's something that a lot of us, I'm sure, have been able to notice in our own behavior or see in others at times. Especially when they disapprove, we feel bad, and this is where that people pleasing and the codependent side of it really comes in. Is then if I do something looking for that approval and then I don't get it and my mood just crashes, my day drops. Oh yeah, my mood drops. There goes my entire day with it. So now my day and the quality of it is solely dependent on the opinion of another. So moving forward, low self, second paragraph here. I don't know why my brain just hiccuped on that last line. Like, that'll make sense. I'm sure something will come back for me there. You're getting to figure out how I work here too. You're right here with me. So the second paragraph, and I think so that's a perfect time with that point that I just froze on there for a second. Low self-esteem can make us think we need someone else's approval to feel okay about ourselves. Another very common thing with those suffering from addiction, low self-esteem. If we felt great about ourselves and loved ourselves, we wouldn't kill ourselves with drugs or treat ourselves and others the way we do through our addictive behavior. Like, we just wouldn't. The things we do when in disease do not equate to a person with high self-esteem or self-respect or love or whatever it is. Another thing that's pretty synonymous. So, when we're coming from this place of low self-esteem, so that's what then, why when people disapprove, like we're trying to reach for approval, we don't get it. That's where then that big exaggeration comes out, and then our mood drops and we feel so much worse because we already feel bad about ourselves. Like, people pleasing, we're already coming from a place of low self-esteem. I would argue that a root of people pleasing is low self-esteem. I think that's an absolutely foundational piece in that. So please, in the comments, let me know your thoughts too. We'd love to get a good discussion going about this. But I think that's a root cause of people pleasing is low self-esteem. So therefore, I come to you and say, hey, look at this thing I did. Huh? Yeah, approval. Don't get that approval. Shut down. Well, I already came to you feeling bad about myself. So now getting the disapproval, I feel even worse. You're now justifying all of those low self-esteem thoughts and negative self-talk I have. You have now just supported all of that argument and that thinking. So I obviously am going to feel worse. My world just comes crashing down. So hopefully this makes sense and can help just kind of explain the behavior behind it, because the emotional responses are very extreme, but there's reasoning behind them. They're not just like coming out of nowhere, And then there's same kind of the flip side then on when we get that approval. Oh, yay, great. My day gets better. I feel better. And then a lot of us too, we'll start pushing for it. Then we'll nudge for a little more. This was good. Well, what about that thing? Oh, that was good. Oh, great. That was good too. Okay, give it an hour. Well, what about this thing now? We're just looking for other little boosts, other little more feel-good chemicals going off on telling us that we are getting your approval. Because again, low self-esteem. So one approval isn't going to counteract my low self-esteem. So I need more. I need more than just the one. And then classic addict thinking, if some is good, more is better, then approve. Give it all to me. And then we just get annoying and exhausting. Oh, Lord. I have been this person. I've worked with this person. I have loved this person. It just happens. It just happens. Oh, my gosh. So going through then this second paragraph, I really like, and it talks about it here more. The second line, we do whatever we think it will take to make them tell us we're okay. Woo, pardon me. So there's a lot of important points. There's a lot out of this line. There's a lot out of this line that's very strong. I just want to dissect here a little bit. We do whatever we think it will take. So willing to do anything. Low self-esteem, whatever I think is going to get the answer out of you that I'm looking for, I'm going to do it. Like it said earlier in the first paragraph, right or wrong. So right or wrong is now out of the equation. That is no longer coming into the thinking. The thinking is, what do I need to do? Not to get your approval, to make you tell me I'm okay. So here's the funny thing about this, and that line doesn't express it enough. But another thing to think about is that people pleasing is really actually selfish. I'm going to say that again because it may be mind-blowing for a bunch of you. People pleasing is actually selfish. So we see here then, and if this is the point to where we get in our behavior and the way we're looking at and going about things, well, now I'm not doing it to please you anymore. And I'm not even doing something to please you necessarily. What I'm doing, and like it says here, we do whatever we think it will take to make them tell us we're okay. I am manipulating you. I am solely behaving in manipulation now. People pleasing can be the much nicer, victim-y, like cover up title for it. But really we're looking at manipulation here, and that's a big one. And I know it's hard and gross, and forgive me if this is the first time you're hearing this and it's clicking and making sense. I'm definitely not trying to beat down on anybody because I had to go through this myself, but it's just to help understand what's going on. What are the real thoughts and motives behind the behavior, right? So if I'm doing whatever I think it's going to take to make you tell me I'm okay, now it's like it's not even really looking for that other person's approval necessarily. It's looking for another voice to justify the situation that I am trying to create. I hope that makes sense. I'm trying to find the right words for this. I think that did a pretty good job. Just because, like, with all of this, we get very in our heads, very coming from this low self-esteem place. Okay, I want to be over here now. I want to feel like this. I want things to look like that. But because I have low self-esteem, my word isn't good enough. So I need somebody else's word to say that this is good. So then now it's solidified. Now it's okay. Okay, perfect. You're here. I am now going to do whatever it takes that I think will make you say that this is good. So now this is okay. I have your stamp of approval because it's not coming from me who thinks low of myself. I think better of you. Great. This situation is now worthy. That is now giving me some more sense of worthiness. Does this make sense? So it's actually wildly unhealthy. It's very unhealthy. It's very sick. It's manipulation. It's coming from these, be it codependent places, addict place, low self-esteem, traumatized, all of these different things that absolutely have overlaps. But that's really what's going on here. That's really what the behavior is, what the goal is, what we're looking for. That's really what we're doing, And I've seen people fight tooth and nail. I've had a client flat out yell at me before when I talked to them about this and worked them through it. Because some of us as addicts, we love to play the victim game. We love to play the victim card or the selfless person. I do this all solely for you and for others. Look at me. I'm so giving. Blah, blah, blah. So then when we get called on all of that being garbage and bullshit, and this stuff comes out, now our ego is fighting for its life. So now we're fighting tooth and nail to try to defend anything that we can to stay true to our story, Because again, remember earlier I was just talking about here's the situation I want. I need you to approve of that. Well, same. So then if we have this conversation, we are now not approving of the story. We are now saying, no, that's a load of crap, actually, and I know what you're actually doing. Well, now you're at your last line of defense. This is now the last thing you have to hang on to, in theory, for dear life, right? Because again, addict brain, disease of addiction, everything is all based on survival. It's in the survival mechanism in my brain. I think my addiction is directly equated to will I live or not. My ego are now my defenses for my addiction. So therefore you attack the ego. So I think if my ego loses this fight, I am going to die. Does this make sense? I know it's crazy and it's way out there, but it's actually pretty linear. To me, I remember when I figured all of this out and started putting it together, it blew my mind. It blew my mind. So that's where these big emotional reactions come from. That's where the mood swings come from. That's where the grand gestures come from and the big extreme last stands. That's where all of this is coming from, ultimately. And that all just comes down to a scared little person inside who doesn't think they're going to be okay. That's heavy. Oh, that's so powerful. Oh my gosh. Oh, I hope you feel that the way that I do. Oh. And just know that if you're like feeling and resonating with this stuff and you are scared or it's hitting hard, I promise you're going to be okay. And you can be okay through this, because I was there too. I felt this too. I remember the first time I realized all this and what I was doing. Oh shit. Woo. that gets followed up by a real look in the mirror and a real look at myself and how I was living and behaving and things I needed to change, which were a lot. But knowing that, they say knowing is half the battle. Like, at least you know that, and now you know this, or the person in your life who may be doing this stuff, it now makes a lot more sense. This is what you really have to work with. This is the space now where you can grow on and build from and make some progress, and understand that really a big part of, in order to be correcting, changing the people-pleasing or manipulative behavior, is really just learning how to love yourself more. And that's what it talks about in the end of this paragraph, and then the end of the third paragraph. We realize that the approval of others will not fill the emptiness inside us. Sorry, there's a couple of lines I got stuck on there. So just knowing that, and then knowing this is that place of where to come from and where to be doing that work ourselves. Recovery is an inside job. So the same with all of this stuff, people pleasing, self-esteem, it's all an inside job. We got to be doing that work for ourselves and work on getting that approval from ourselves, right? I think that's these are all just like these key pieces of it that have helped me heal a lot from this, made a lot more sense out of things, and just start meeting my own needs, basically, because that's no one else's job or responsibility, it's mine. So anyway, they talk about that more in this third paragraph, which a couple of things I kind of go back and forth on a little bit. I love this first line: the inner satisfaction we seek can be found in doing the right things for the right reasons. So back to our hypothetical example, I want this situation to be true. Well, then therefore, I will do the appropriate work, get the right support and help, or education, or stick with the routine, whatever it is that I need to do in order to make this true. Instead of lie, manipulate, bring you in, do whatever it takes to get you to say, yes, this is true, and then sweet, I've got it. So very different paths on getting there. And also, there's still different results. This then truth kind of becomes two sides of the same coin. Because if I get that truth approval from another person, well, that's just a house of cards, man. There's no real foundation behind it. That eventually is going to come down. And especially if you're an addict like me, you know all about the house of cards falling down. Holy shit. So there's the one. Compared to then the other side of that coin, the true result, the true, that true result from getting there of doing the right things for the right reasons, completely different. Hopefully unshakable foundation coming from you and your support system or whoever else helped work with you on it or guide you and teach you in order to get here. Very different place. Very, very different place. Oh, man. Oh, it's feeling good just sharing with you. Oh, yeah. We break the people-pleasing... I'm just going to go through this one. We break the people-pleasing cycle when we stop acting merely to gain others' approval and start acting on our higher power's will for us. So, this one... yes and no. I think you do what you want with this and you find what is right for you with this. Like it's interesting. I really like the perspective of acting on our higher power's will for us. I'm a big God guy. I love God and love the guidance that I get from them, whatever God is, to try to help me be a better person. But I don't want to fully discount myself. Because as a low self-esteem, people-pleasing addict, I've spent my entire life discounting myself. So doing this now, I don't want to jump immediately to then our higher power's will for us. Because then on my brain, I can really easily now just swap out people-pleasing with you to now God. So now I just replace the person I'm trying to get the pleasing from and then God. But I can't have as really direct, obvious back and forth conversations with God like I can with other people. So now I can just kind of end up being a lunatic. Like, I pray a lot and talk to God all the time. I haven't heard how are you, God? Oh, I'm fine, Lucas. Yeah, that part hasn't come back yet. God communicates to me in different ways. So then if I've just replaced people-pleasing with then God-pleasing, well, now I'm getting even less to work with. Now I'm running around desperately looking for signs. Give me a sign. Show me you approve of this. Oh, you are going to drive yourself nuts if you think like that and live like that. I've seen this too. I've absolutely seen it too. Because with people-pleasing, with addiction, we're just trying to hang on to anything for dear life. We're trying to reach on to anything to give us that security, approval, love, and then whatever it is, when we got it, oh my God, I hang on to that thing like a pit bull with lockjaw. That is just, I am not letting go of that no matter what. So if we just immediately jump to then God's will and God's approval, I think that's a dangerous line. That's a slippery slope for addicts. So I like it as a part of this, like in tandem, but gain the approval of myself, I think is a better place to start. That's where I like to start. And real me, not addict me, which is another space of where the work comes in. But just doing this work, working on people-pleasing and codependency in line with working on recovery and trying to become a better recovering addict. These are all different pathways for me to be becoming a better person. A better person, my true self, getting in touch with my authentic self. There's a lot of parallels and overlap here. And so for me, I like that being the first space. I like that being the priority. I'm going to stop trying to look for approval from you. I'm going to try to start looking for that from me. And then how I'm also doing this is knowing that I'm doing the right things for the right reasons, like this reading says. And that is what is helping me get some more approval. Then I am connecting this with God and with my spirituality and deepening this because I know I am living every day doing the right things for the right reasons. So that is all feeling much better as well. I am now more in harmony with myself, God, and others. It all just flows so much more. This is such a smoother, better place to be. So I hope that resonates. I hope that makes more sense. Okay? So there was just another kind of like a warning signy thing here I wanted to mention. And then kind of wrap it up. This is a long one today, but I'm all fired up on it, so I hope you've been enjoying it and sticking around with me. Here we go. When we do, we may be pleasantly surprised to find that the people who really count in our lives will approve all the more of our behavior. This is also very dangerous. I don't like that they put this in here. I think that's another super dangerous thing. Because again, addict brain, manipulator, this all lies in manipulation. Manipulation, I just need information to then be able to spin and twirl and bend and do whatever I want with, right? So you are now walking me through this path of people pleasing, of here's what it looks like. Here's the turning point where we make this realization of what we need to do instead. Here's the solution of it. If you tell me all in this same time that the part of this solution is that people who really count in our lives are now going to approve when I do this, well, hello, you just now let me skip the line, skip all this hard, deep emotional work that I don't want to do, and all these things that I don't want to look at on myself. You just gave me the shortcut. You just gave me the shortcut. Because again, if I'm willing to do whatever it takes solely for your approval, well, now I just got to pretend even more like I'm doing this for the right reasons. Then you're going to give me that approval. So then, fuck, man. Like, that's so many people. It's so easy, especially if you're in this sick, addicted, people-pleasing mindset, to hear this. You are so much more likely going to want to hear that and then jump on that kind of behavior and thinking, as opposed to doing all this hard, heavy lifting that I was just describing. You've already been in this place for years. That neural pathway is already carved out, ready to go. You now just found the fast lane? Come on. Like, it's just very dangerous. Not a fan of that. So I really hope that people watching and reading this I just hope you're able to understand and make that different distinction. Because again, if I'm doing this and I say that I'm doing the right things for the right reasons, but I'm still hanging on to wanting that approval from somewhere outside, I'm missing the point. I'm missing the point. I'm not doing the work or enough of it, or those changes, making that change within ourselves, not looking for approval inward because we're looking outward again, or we have this reservation where this approval now is still, I'll say that I'm doing it for me, but really I'm hoping you like it too. Well, then we've still got a foot out the back door. We've still got a foot in this old thinking and old behavior and way of life. So that's a very dangerous line. And so I just really wanted to point that out and make that distinction just to stand out for you. Because I know at times my brain absolutely ran away with that one. So I'm like, don't do what Donnie Don't does. Don't do what I did and get caught up in that shit. Because, oh Lord, you're just going to be having to pass go all over again. It's not worth it. Trust me, I've been there. They should have just jumped with this. Higher powers will for us, blank. Most importantly, though, we will approve of ourselves. If anything, then the higher power is the bonus. That's how I feel about all this stuff. Take it all with a grain. Find what likes for you. Recovery's personalized, but just through all of my years in recovery and clinical experience, these are just these important thoughts that really make some differences between the two that I just wanted to point out for you and mention. Okay? So, great. Hopefully it makes sense. Gonna wrap it up with this. So that last line there, just for today, higher power, help me live in accordance with spiritual principles. Only then can I approve of myself. I think that is a really good way to be kind of summarizing and finishing this up, finishing with these points. I really like that. Connection with higher power, spirituality, spiritual principles, better principles, whatever it is, just looking for these other guideposts of things to help just things to be guiding your behavior and your thinking behind it, to be living better, truer, as this more authentic, genuine version of you, the you you've really wanted to be, the version of you that you completely lost in addiction. Let's get back to that person, and this is the way to do it. Only then can I approve of myself. That path, really doing the right things for the right reasons. Yeah. So, okay. So there we go. That is enough out of me. Woo, I got fired up on that one. I really hope you folks at home resonated with this one too. I like this topic, this reading. I love the NA just for today. I think it's a great book. But yeah, there's our daily reflection on people pleasing today. That's a doozy, like I said. So please, down in the comments, please throw what stands out for you. Any of these topics on or issues around people pleasing. We covered a lot of things today. Would love to hear some shares down in the comments just to see how we can relate and connect. And that guidance could really help somebody, and that's the whole point. Okay, in the description, we've got other ways Spotlight Recovery can support you. Check them all out down there. Recovery coaching videos, a podcast, blog, all of these things. We're putting together a newsletter. All these things are all coming out. They're all free resources for you, so please enjoy them. I do recovery coaching with people. So if you are liking what you're hearing, have these issues around people pleasing or not fully being able to make sense with these things we were talking about, then please reach out to me. As you can see, I have a lot of experience and understanding with this, and I'd really be happy to do some coaching with you to see if I can work through these issues with you and be that support for you that you need, okay? Contacts in the description, so please reach out. Last is ways that you can support us. And don't you do it to people, please. Don't you do it. But if you would like to support the channel, healthy ways, the YouTube things are great. So like I was saying, commenting, liking, subscribing, and sharing is really, really good for us. Get yourself some branded merch. We've got a great Spotlight Recovery clothing store down there, and just other good like recovery clothing, which is really cool. So check all of that stuff out. It's high quality. It's comfortable. I wouldn't sell clothes that I wouldn't wear myself. And then last is to donate. You can donate to support the channel, become a member, join the channel. We'd really appreciate all these things. Okay, so check them all out. Until then, thank you for stopping by. I really hope you enjoyed this video as much as I did. Have a blessed 24 in recovery today, okay? Take care of yourself out there. Don't people please love you. Do it for you. Stay sober, and we'll see you again tomorrow.